Hey, it's time for Streaming Idiots. I'm Tom Sinclair. Got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about worship and websites and YouTube, and I think it's going to be pretty cool. So hang around. We'll be right back. All right, I'm Tom Sinclair. Still working on that intro, but we'll get it down. Welcome to Streaming Idiots. Streaming Idiots is our new show. I'd say new. It's, a couple months old, and we're still working the bugs out. But it's the idea that, that anybody really can stream. If you've got a passion for something and you want to send that passion out to the whole wide world or just down the street, you can do it, and you can do it with a PC and software and camera, and before you know it, you're a multimillionaire. Well, I don't know about that part. I'm sure there are lots of folks out there that've got multimillionaire plans, but the idea really isn't to make the money. The idea is to do the passion part of it, and one of the passion parts for me is, there are lots of passion parts. It was sports that brought me into this, and certainly the talk show part of it, like we're doing now. This kind of setting is a lot of fun. If you're watching us on YouTube, I'd love to have you join us live on Wednesday afternoons. It's pretty much fun. But the other part that I think is just really close to my heart is for churches to stream whatever they're going to stream, whether it's worship or Bible studies or whatever activities. We have a church that our kids used to go to on Sunday nights, and they would stream the youth group. And so we got to watch what was going on. It was, it was a little voyeuristic, but it was, kind of reassuring to know what your kids were doing. So we found that churches can really benefit by streaming. Let's look at it a couple different ways. Everybody says, oh, yeah, it's a great way for people that don't know your church to find it. And that may be true, and the question really becomes, how are they going to find it? But really, I think the great benefit is that it's a service to folks that can't be at church. In our church, we've got several members that are elderly or are infirm and just can't make it to church anymore. And people visit them, and the clergy will visit them weekly, but it's not like being there. And not like an internet broadcast is like being there either. I understand that. I'm under no illusions. But at least it's a move in the right direction. And my good buddy Alan Bunt at Good Shepherd Church up the country has been streaming his church services for a long time, and reports that not only do folks that are current and current members, but who aren't able to attend like they used to, not only are they benefiting by it, but their families are benefiting by it, because it becomes a little break for the caregiver to park mom or dad down in front of the TV set for a while, and and you put the stuff on the big screen, and if you're streaming high definition, it looks good. But also, what Alan is reporting is that they have a number of new members, quote unquote, that have never ever set foot in the church, but feel like they're a part of that body because they're able to attend worship with them regularly. And they can sing the hymns, and they can praise, and they can listen to the sermon, and they can be as engaged as they possibly can by doing it over TV. But it's not like a traditional TV church service. This one is far more personal, because there may be an audience of 10, and there typically is a chat room where folks can put in a prayer request, make a comment on a sermon. It's much more intimate in that sense. Now, not that anything on the internet is ever intimate, but it really is more personal than traditional TV or traditional church TV has been. And I think there's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of power in that. Not just, and we're not talking so much, or I'm not thinking so much about the evangelism part of it, although that's there. so much as I am the fellowship of all believers. Keeping those folks that have been longtime members and loved parts of your congregation, keeping them engaged, and keeping them active in the sense that they're continuing to participate. It probably, and Al and I have talked about this a little bit, it really will benefit by having a chat room, and by having a chat room that's monitored by an active monitor, not somebody that's just looking there to make sure nobody's cussing, because that's not going to be the case most likely in a church service. Although I guess it could. If it did, you'd want to make sure you have banning capabilities, which is why we've gone to Chatwing, because we can ban folks. My good friend Charles in South Carolina got banned by accident by almost 2 weeks as we were trying to figure that feature out. But having an active chat room, again, is a way to be a little bit more personally engaged and engaging. And I think whoever runs that chat room ought to have some ministry responsibility within the church, because they're likely to pop into some ministry situations quite by accident. There are lots of different softwares that do that, and as you know, my three favorites are VidBlaster, Wirecast, and vMix. And what the concepts that apply to one, I think, apply to all three. And coming up in Wednesday, and by the way, folks, if you're watching this on YouTube later on, sorry about this. You might still be able to go back and see it video on demand. But coming up live on Wednesday, September 10th, the folks at Telestream are doing a webinar on worship with Wirecast, and so if you have interest in that and you want to see how some other people are doing it, get some ideas, and it's always nice. Excuse me, goodness, it's always nice to get ideas. Go to telestream.net/Wirecast, telestream.net/Wirecast, and then just surf around, and somewhere on there you'll find the webinar. Or I bet you could probably Google Wirecast Worship Webinar and come up with it. It's September 10th of 2014 on a Wednesday. Golly, I hope it's not during our show. Oh, I think they typically have them in the morning Eastern time. So I commend that to you as a way to take a look and see how the different software providers are making themselves known to the different communities that kind of make this up. Wirecast has done a pretty good job of doing a series of webinars. I don't know who's leading this one, but Stephen Haywood has done several of them. I know he's done one on worship. I think he's done one on sports. And I know Wirecast Telestream has done several others on other subjects with people in those specialty areas to come in and talk about them. So good job to the folks at Telestream for seeing the vertical markets that Wirecast can appeal to, and continuing to serve those and to open them up to new folks. Speaking of vertical markets, our vertical market is open. We've been working hard on it. It's not not great, but it's getting there. EasternShoreBroadcasting.com is sort of the new wing under which all of our TV shows are now going to be covered, as we begin to move into not just doing internet shows that have kind of a wide reach, but begin to sort of draw it down to our local community here in Fairhope, Alabama, as we talk to business professionals about putting themselves and their businesses or their professions on the internet in a way to expand and to improve their visibility in the community, and to improve their image of expertise. There's nothing like separating yourself from the rest of the pack by having your own TV show. Don't discount that. And so that's something that as somebody who's done streaming for a number of years now, I really do feel like I can bring it to the table and help other folks be professional in it. And who knows, there may be a whole different business plan there. We'll just have to take a look at that. But if you would, check us out, EasternShoreBroadcasting.com. We're gradually bringing our store online. Currently, you can get the VidBlaster software there. You can get the vMix software there, and we've got another set that is streaming accessories. And so some of the accessories that we talk about a lot, for example, if you're just getting started in streaming, and you don't want to spend a lot of money, and you've got a laptop and you've got a camera, but you plug the USB port from the camera into the laptop and nothing happens, because the laptop and the camera can't talk to each other that way for streaming. They can do file transfer, but they can't do streaming. So you need an intermediary device, a USB frame grabber, like the EasyCap, EasyCap.tv. Well, there are tons of those EasyCaps out there, and some of them work and some of them don't. Some of them don't work. But the one that I know works consistently, I've put in our streaming accessories section. So if you want stuff that's tried and true, that's tested and works right every time, that's where you can get it. And some of the stuff was just stuff that is on Amazon, where we're an affiliate, and we'll get a few pennies if you buy it, and Amazon will fulfill it. Other things like the software, where we'll actually provide you with the serial numbers and the keys and provide personal support on it. All of my customers get my cell number. It's good for as long as either one of us live. Obviously, if I die first, oh well. It's not likely to happen anytime soon. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. So check out our new website, easternshorebroadcasting.com. I hope you will refer other folks to it, and I actually would like some feedback too from those guys that watch. Seems like we may be having problems there. Some of the guys in the chat room seem to be complaining about the stream, so I hope we're not having issues there. So easternshorebroadcasting.com. Yeah, that's it. There we go. The other thing that I wanted to bring up, because I've got one friend in particular in the chat room who does a great weekly show on Sunday mornings. It's called Computers 2K Now. His name is Amnon Nissan, and he's got 3 other co-hosts that join him on Sunday mornings via Skype. And it's a really great show. It starts at 9 o'clock Eastern, runs for about 3 hours. And it's these 3 old guys and this young whippersnapper, and they talk about tech. And it's really great, because these aren't the old guys like, the guys that don't know how to operate their cell phone. These are the old guys that have been growing up with tech, that knew about all this stuff before everybody else knew about it. And so they know this stuff inside and out. One of them's a radio broadcast engineer. One of them used to work with IBM back in the bad old days. And it's a highly commended show, Computers 2K Now. Well, one of the things that Amnon and I have chatted about over the years is, why would we want to use YouTube? And I want to make the case for, if you've got a live show, or a recorded show for that matter, making it available on YouTube. Did you know, and this is the killer fact right here, did you know that YouTube is the number 2 search engine in the world right now, compared to all the others? I guess Google is number 1. YouTube is the number 2 search engine. So if somebody wants to go find out about technology, or about video streaming, or about making shoes, they're likely to go to YouTube to find it. So if your show is about technology, or video streaming, or making shows, you need to be on YouTube with your videos in order to be found. Let me repeat that. You need to be on YouTube with your shows to be found by drive-by folks, by folks that are out searching, not by people that already know where you are and know how to find you, but by people that are casting about. I cast about looking for VidBlaster for probably 6 months. I didn't know the search terms, but I finally found it. And did I find a YouTube video first? I may have. But goodness gracious, there's no better way than to find out about something than to see a video, to have somebody talk to you eyeball to eyeball and tell you what it's about. And you can decide if you believe them or not. I was looking earlier today, we've got 160 videos up on our YouTube channel. Some of them are that VidBlaster Guy shows. Some of them are Streaming Idiot shows. We have over 126,000 views. Now, not all of them are viewed all the way through. A lot of people pop in and say, oh, this is not what I thought, and pop out. I understand that. We have over 800 subscribers. I'm stunned. I can't believe 800 people would be interested in what I had to say, but apparently they do. Not only interested, but repeatedly interested. And if you haven't subscribed, you need to subscribe. It would make me feel better. No, just teasing. YouTube is the place to go. YouTube is the place to go. And it's free, number one. You can't beat free. It's high definition if you want high definition, number two. You can add comments in there with URLs to whatever you want to. You can have back and forth chats with viewers on there. I mean, not chats, but, message chats. And you've got all sorts of cool analytics that tell you what the makeup of your audience is. For example, my audience is like 98% male. No surprise, but there it is in black and white. My audience is 55% USA. Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know 45% of my audience was from overseas or from other places in the Americas. Yep. Second greatest, I think, is the United Kingdom. Third greatest is Australia. So it's you got to know who your viewers are, and that helps you kind of mold your show so that you're making sure you're meeting those needs. Obviously within the bounds of your own ethics and within the bounds of your passion. But I'm sorry, I got distracted by the chat room. The idea that somebody like, and I guess it's Google, would make something available like YouTube where we can put our message out there for free is just outrageous. It's over the top. I'm stunned. I'm delighted. I'm happy as a clam. I do a live show every week. Actually, do 2 live shows every week, and have a decent audience, enough of an audience to keep doing it live. And I enjoy the camaraderie with the folks because we have chat rooms and we can talk back and forth with what's going on with people in their chat and answer questions. And sometimes the guys in chat ended up chatting with each other and getting to know each other, and that's a lot of fun too. But the greater opportunities to get your message across are in recorded video. Now, that's in a format like this. I mean, if we were doing a live concert, if Billy Joel were doing a live concert, he might get far many more folks that are going to watch it live than are going to watch it later on demand. If it's a sporting event, which tends to have a very high interest when live and a much less interest recorded later, it needs to be on YouTube. YouTube is where people go to find stuff. So if you are on the bubble as to whether it's worth the trouble, definitely it's worth the trouble. Now, the caveat to all of that is I don't think YouTube Live is the way to go at all. I like having complete control over my live broadcast. I like recording it right here. Thank you very much. I like having a 2-second to 4-second see it in the time. I mean, between the time I say it and the time you hear it. With YouTube, it could be with YouTube Live. At least the times I've checked it, it was a minute and a half, almost 2 minutes in some cases. That makes chat rooms extremely difficult to moderate, and to have that give and take. 2 or 3 seconds is good. I can say it, you can hear it, you can ponder it, you can make a reply, and we can have that done in 10 or 20 seconds. But a minute and a half, 2 minutes, not doable. That's one of the criticisms I've got with Decast right now. Decast.com is the CDN that we use for these shows. and we stream it 2 different ways. We stream an 864 by 480 30 frame a second stream to their Flash Media server, and then we stream a oh golly, I never do remember the size of this thing. I think it's like 144 by 90 or something, a very, very small resolution at 30 frames a second, to a HTML5, which is an iOS compatible server. And we do that for folks that are watching us on their phone or on their iPad, and they're using their data plan, on their wireless device. And so we don't want to eat up all their data. If they're committed enough to watch us, we want to make it as light and easy for them as possible. But they have a 45-second delay. But, how many times can you get involved in a chat room on your phone? You probably can't. Maybe on an iPad or a tab, but sorry, I got distracted. Again, somebody says with JustCast, you hear it after 3 seconds. JustCast, I think, is another one of those free CDNs that's popping up on the market to try to take some of the places of Justin TV and what was that other one that disappeared last year? I don't even remember right now. No, still don't remember. Anyway, the whole concept of not having to wait, I think, is the big deal. If you're live, be as live as you possibly can. And if you're going to be recorded, then it doesn't matter, number one. But number two, that's when I think you are going to get the big long-term audience. And frankly, I think as somebody, and we'll switch over to the business side of it for just a second. As somebody that's in the business of promoting video streaming and the related software products, because I sell those related software products, obviously I want to be as wide, as visibly widespread as I possibly can, because I want folks that are considering it for the first time to find me. I want to be easily found. And I think being on YouTube traditionally for me has been one of the ways to be easily found. Most of the hardware, we do custom PCs for streaming. Most of our custom PC streaming business has come from people that have discovered us on YouTube and then maybe came to watch some live shows. I'd say more than half of our software sales come from folks that have found us on YouTube and then maybe, again, watched a couple live shows. But it started out through that search engine effect with YouTube. And so I can't commend you highly enough on that. Now, I know that Amnon is getting 1,000+ viewers on any Sunday. And he's got a great following of regular folks. And I know his video is available on Bamboozer, and of course the archives are there on his website. But if I'm searching for help with my cell phone, or the politics of Microsoft and Google, that might be a part of their discussion one Sunday morning. And so if that becomes part of the show notes, that becomes something that's searchable and something that people could pop in on and say, I want to hear what that Mike Phillips guy has got to say, because he's got some very well thought out arguments. So I just think, Amnon, this is intended as a rant towards you, but towards anybody else too that is asking the question, should I be on YouTube? And the time it takes to do it is just absolutely minimal. When I finish this show today, I will have 2 recorded files that'll be anywhere from a quarter to a third of a gigabyte, and I'll zap them to up to YouTube. They'll take 15-20 minutes to upload, depending on how big YouTube is at that point, how busy they are at that point rather. And then I'll make sure they're labeled as private, so that I can go back in and take 5 or 10 minutes and put in the titles and the background information, and the keywords. If people are searching, they can use keywords there. And then release the VidBlaster Guy show on this afternoon, on probably this evening, and then release this show on Friday. Want to give you guys time to watch the other show first, and it works. And we will have, this last week's shows have anywhere from 60 to 120 hits at this point, and some shows have gone viral. We've got one show out there that people just love. It's got over 10,000 views on it. Do people watch it all the way through? No, most people don't. But there are some people that do, that get the full advantage of it. Anyway, just wanted to make that rant today about YouTube. So, don't forget about the Wirecast webinar coming up September 10th on worship. If you are in worship background, interested in doing it for your church, or already doing it for your church, you probably can pick up some new great ideas there. You can get information at telestream.net/Wirecast, or else just Google Wirecast worship webinar, and I'm sure it'll pop right up. Also, not to forget about our new home coming up, Eastern Shore Broadcasting, where our online store is gradually coming online, and you can get all sorts of software and other streaming accessories there. And then also about our YouTube conversation of, if you're doing streaming every week, every month, whatever it is, it's worthwhile putting it up on YouTube for people to find. Those are my thoughts. I'm Tom Sinclair, the chief streaming idiot. It's been a treat to be with you today, and I hope you'll join me again next week. Follow us on YouTube and on Twitter. It's As You Imagine, Streaming Idiots. Take care, and talk to you again soon.